it. Anyways, hey, welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I'm stealing Pagan's intro since she's a little under the weather today, and I'm going to take the reins on this episode. And everybody join me in welcoming our first guest on the new Replayer Podcast. We have back to the show, Maria and Patrick.
Woo-hoo.
Mr. Pizza and Pocket Ninja.
What's up?
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Pizza.
Isn't it shiny in here? The new, pretty, shiny Replayer Podcast?
It is shiny.
It's so pretty.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I'm shiny.
Just going to say, I loved you kept the name.
Yes.
We did keep
I'm
the
happy
name.
we did.
There was a lot of back and forth on that, Maria, and ultimately the Douche Nozzle podcast was taken, so we stuck with the Replayer podcast.
No,
yeah.
it's great. We love it.
Yeah, we tried filing a claim and a lawsuit, but ultimately we were unable to get
Turns
it.
out there are a bunch of douche nozzles. Who fucking knew?
It's like, but we wanted it.
Rude.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about the brand new RTS game, Age of Empires 4, that came out on PC back on October 28th, which would be now about a week ago. We've all, I believe, had a chance to play it. But first, I want to do a little shout out and acknowledgement of the fact that Forza Horizon 5 is on its way out, and it's getting incredibly amazing reviews. And I personally am extremely happy and excited about that, and I'm wondering if anyone else cares as much as I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Right?
Yes.
No.
Do you know any game?
No.
Shut up, Pagan. Do you know?
I'm ready to
do you
drift
know...
around Mexico.
Right.
That's
do you know any
right.
game that's
On
got
a volcano.
Like 10?
A volcano.
10.
I'm ready to get out of the English countryside. You know, I think that was fun in that last game, but I think that from all accounts, the diversity in the biomes and the environments of this new one look so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love me a good racing game, so I'm all for it. So
I do
I'm
too.
excited to see why it's got a 10. You know, so
Yeah, like the fact that it got a 10 from IGN, multiple other outlets gave it 10/100s or really, really high, like in the high 90s. There's very few reviews that I've seen that were less than 95, which for a racing game is fucking incredible. I have to hard F fucking incredible, because I don't think there's a single other racing game out there that's ever gotten that high of a score. And I've played every Forza game except for Forza Horizon 3. That's the one I missed. I kind of skipped that one.
You really missed out on that one.
I know. I actually went online and bought it. So I'm getting it. I'm going to go back and play it again, or play it for the first time now. But I played Forza Horizon 1 to death. I've played 2. I've played 4. And I was really looking forward to 5. Now I'm really looking forward to 5, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So I just wanted to say, like, congratulations and great job to Playground Games that they knocked it out of the park with, like, oh my God, I can only imagine it's going to be like the best racing game ever made.
yeah.
And to tail end that, they're also making Fable.
Ooh.
That makes me feel extra happy and hopeful for Fable.
Do you think
I
you
never
can
played
tune up
Fable.
your car in Fable?
I hope so.
Custom rims.
Yeah, it'd be
What do you think?
That'd be sweet.
I mean, if they bring back like the talking door puzzles. Oh man. Anyways, anyone who's not played Fable, you're missing out on.
I
never
have
played
never
Fable.
played Fable. I will
I'm also
have
missing
to
out.
get on that. Oh, thank
Yeah.
God. I thought it was just me.
Well, you've got something great to look forward to. Anyways, moving us on to our main topic of discussion this week, we are going to be doing a deep dive on the new RTS strategy game, Age of Empires 4, which is the long-running series of RTS games now with its, God, what's it been since Age of Empires 3 came out? Newest
Jesus.
edition.
Good question. I'll find out. I'll Google.
You gotta look at that. All right. So just the brief little history and background. You know, Age of Empires is one of the most beloved real-time strategy games, returning to glory, putting you at the center of epic historical battles that shape the world, featuring both familiar and innovative new ways to expand your empire, vast landscapes, and stunning 4K visuals. And Age of Empires 4 is bringing an evolved real-time strategy game to a new generation. That is the description of the game right from the website, just so you know.
Age of Empires 3, it actually came out in 2005. So this is
Wow.
16
Wow.
years, basically,
Wow.
isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, goddamn. 16
I feel
years in the
crusty.
making. Fuck. I didn't even read. Oh my god, I'm old. Oh no.
So
no.
I know I've played a pretty good chunk of the game so far. I've been pretty addicted to it. It's fun. I wanted to give you guys a chance to go around and share your experience so far with the game, and I'm gonna put you right on the spot right now, Pagan, since you're taking a drink.
Alright.
Get it out, get it done.
Yeah, let's get it out. It's paracetamol. It's like lemon sip. I don't know if you have lemon sip in. What the fuck happened to my voice? Hold on a second.
Oh, the lemon
Hello?
sip.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, sorry. So I've actually just been playing a little bit of this. I have been sick, so I haven't talked as many hours as I probably should have. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying like the cutscene. I presume you would call them cutscenes, right? Like the beginning of each mission and stuff like that. And you get this kind of like fucking History Channel documentary going. I love that. I love that vibe.
Nerd really hard up for that stuff.
Yeah, I love all that. I feel like I have a question about Age of Empires 4. Right? Okay, like so I really enjoy learning the mechanics of the game and how they're teaching it to you through the tutorial and through the campaign. They're adding more and more each time you go through each mission and stuff, and I really enjoy that. There's definitely some things about the game that's just frustrating, but that's I think has been a part of all of their Age of Empires games, like the clustering of your units and stuff like that when you're trying to separate them is fucking annoying. But I have a question: is Age of Empires going to appeal to you if you don't like A, history, and B, British history in particular, only because it starts that way. So like when you go into your campaign and everything, you get quite a lengthy campaign in the British history stories. And I'm wondering, like, if you're not into that, like, are you even going to battle through all of those? I mean, because of these cutscenes now, they are lengthier than before. They're giving you a lot of wealth on the history and stuff. And I don't know, like, would that appeal to you if you don't like history and British history in particular? Will you stick it out?
I think to answer the short answer there is I believe you can choose any one of the campaigns. I don't think you're locked into following the campaigns in order.
If you did it like me though, like if you just load up the thing and you just
I went right
campaign,
into the first campaign as soon as I started it.
Yeah, if you start straight campaign, which I also find their menu a little bit like heavy, like it's very text heavy, and I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I could just play through. So when I saw click campaign for a single player, I was like, great, I'm just going to start a campaign, and that's when it launches you into British history. I understand you can pick and choose. Did you say there was like Mongolian history and Russian history as well in there?
Yep.
I have yet to come to those. But I just find that if you're like me and you don't really like a text-heavy menu with a whole bunch of stuff happening, you just want to play the game, that is a little bit difficult to find. It's always been like that with Age of Empires, though. I mean,
that's an RTS game in a nutshell, I would say.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
But yeah, overall, it's great. I am enjoying it.
How about you, Maria?
Well, for someone who's actually British, it's a refresher for me to go back and relive the shit I didn't pay attention to at school. So, I'm going back and they're like these little videos. I watched one and it was them talking about building castles and stuff. And I was like, oh, this castle took 25 years. And I'm like, fucking long. So to me, it was like having these little videos and stuff is like really, really cool. But the game itself, like I like the Age of Empires games, and I feel like if you're someone who is into knights and armor, and even anybody that's into like Game of Thrones or something is going to appeal to that kind of feudal kind of stuff. And so, but it's nice to go back and play those, like that guy. I like the game. It hasn't changed so much to make it a completely new game. So as soon as you load it up, it's Age of Empires. You can see it's Age of Empires. It's polished a little bit. It's a little frustrating. I have to admit, there was a couple of times that, one of my archers was shooting a shed and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But no, that's what you come to expect from Age of Empires and stuff. And so it's the typical, RTS strategy type thing. But no, I'm enjoying it. I haven't played too much of it, but I've been playing some of the missions, and I like some of the battle reenactments. They had the one that was like the William the Conqueror and things, and you got to reenact the actual battle, and I was just like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I've enjoyed it. Yeah. Cool.
And how about you, Patrick?
I'll have to admit that I haven't played a whole lot of it yet. But I'm curious to know, everybody else's here their thoughts on visually. How did you feel walking into this game when you booted it up? I felt a little underwhelmed now knowing that it was 2003 since the last one.
2005.
When you have 2005, pardon.
Yeah.
When you have other large scale war game, like I'm thinking of Total War specifically, like that game is like I don't want to dive too deep into that because I feel like they're the art style is very distinct, but at the same time I kind of it's 4K visuals, and I just am
I can see what you're saying.
A little underwhelmed.
Expect a little bit more, from it. Like it's literally just Age of Empires 3 with a bit of polish on it. Yeah.
I mean, I think that the gameplay is very important. I'm generally a gameplay over visuals kind of person, but that's definitely something that stood out. But as you said, Marie, you booted that game up and it was Age of Empires. You started that tutorial and you're collecting wood and you're setting up farms, you're setting up barracks. But as someone who is a history buff, enjoys that, it's hard to speak on, if you booted right into, the British storyline and you're not into that. I can't speak to that perspective because I'm like, yes, give me all of that, give me those videos. I get a kick out of it. So I definitely plan to play more, but I can't help but think like, this could have probably looked a little differently.
Dan, what do you think? What are your takes on what Patrick said?
Let's see. So one of my favorite things about the game so far is definitely those historical cutscenes. I love the history nerd in me loves how it feels like I'm playing like an episode of the History Channel where they're doing these deep dives into things. And it's funny because there's actually a lot of the cutscenes and the live action stuff that they're showing you use people that I've seen in actual other like historical documentaries on shows that I watch about history. It's the same people. It's I'm like watching the same show essentially, but then cut into Age of Empires, and then they have that kind of interspersed into the gameplay and the cutscenes. I do agree that the graphics are not nearly on par as what I was hoping for and expecting in a 2021 game that's been in development for I think about 5 years, give or take. I think that it was definitely more probably a design choice in the style, but I still think that a lot of the game could have been a little prettier. But again, I'm still big on gameplay over graphics. As long as I'm having fun, I don't really care how it looks. Because I play a lot of 2D games too, anyways, that have no visual aesthetic to them, but they're still fun. The storyline is definitely a little bit better when you can play the other aspects of things. Like I love the British history; it's super interesting. I started playing the Mongol campaign the other day, and it's like completely different. And I was having a lot more fun once I was like, okay, now things are different. The Mongol whole structure is different. They play different. It was a bit of a moment of like panic of like, I don't know what to do now because they play differently. But the game does a really good job of making sure you're getting those like little help tips and keeping you informed and what you need to do, which I think is a big improvement. Because when I go back and play the old games, I'm constantly like, how do I do shit? Okay, I'm just going to die now. Okay, cool. I think the grouping has become a big part of the new game, especially when it comes to that bad AI with some of the units. I'm forcing myself to constantly group my units, and I usually will group them by class. Like if it's a set of archers, grouped. Set of swordsmen, group. Set of horses, grouped. And then you can do master group too, so you can group everybody into a separate group. So it's just this level of micromanagement that it's tedious, but it's kind of fun too when you really get into the deep mechanics of it and how you can command different groups in different ways.
I do have a question on that though, right? And you might be able to help me because I didn't get a hint for this. How do you ungroup? Because say like you were trying to group a cavalry unit, and instead of pressing 1, you press 2 by accident, but you already had a group 2. It fucks you up. It puts 2 and a comma 2, and I'm like, damn it! I want to ungroup that. I want to undo that. there doesn't seem to be a
I
way, or
honestly
there's no
don't
helpful
know
hint.
off the top of my head. And
Yeah, if anybody knows in the comments, please let me know, because I'm fucking stuck
I'm sure
on
I'll
that.
figure it out the next time I play. I don't know if it's as simple as doing the same group again and try to, like, if it removes it.
It doesn't. I've tried that. I've tried that, and it does not. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, though, so just let me know in the comments. That bit just kind of annoyed me.
I did mean to touch on that, though. I mean, because that stood out to me, that bit of micromanaging was appealing to me as someone who's now working from home, and it's like I'm looking for all the little shortcuts that I can, and to quickly go to a unit and be ready for combat, and to have tried to plan that out ahead of time on what I would need, and I did find that very, very appealing, and couldn't remember if that was a feature in other games or previous entries.
Yeah, as soon as I got the hang of the grouping, I immediately thought, was this in the old games? Because now I feel like an idiot, and I should have been grouping in the old games. Because I could swear you could have done that, but I forgot. Like, I remember having groups, but maybe I'm misremembering other RTS games I've played.
They just focused on it super early in the tutorial, to remind you that, hey, you can do this.
Yeah, and that was helpful. The tutorial is really good, and like Dan said before, the little pop-up tips and hints and stuff like that are really great.
Yeah. There's definitely some things left to be wanted in the game, but I think there's a lot of fun to be had there. If you're a history nerd, it's like no questions asked. You're going to enjoy this game. You're going to have fun. Yeah. You're going to appreciate all of the historical cutscenes and cinematics, especially because they go into such depth of explaining the tiniest little details. Like, some of my favorite bits are the live action scenes that they show, like how the crossbow used to work and how it was developed. And like they're showing this guy using the thing to pull up the crossbow. It's super nerdy shit, but I love it. Learning all those little details like that.
I was going to say, I actually really enjoy as well when they get footage of like modern day Normandy and stuff like that as well, and they're putting in their like superimposed like CGI characters and like what that would have looked like when they stormed like the city and stuff, and I think that's really cool. I was like, oh, this is interesting, because obviously all of those buildings have been there for many years, so they would have been around during those times. That kind of stuff is really interesting. Or the Battle of Hastings and stuff, like where that's absolutely just a field today, and they were kind of like superimposing their warriors on the field and showing you what that would have looked like in today. And I think that's kind of cool.
I just remembered something else that I really found interesting when I started playing the Mongol campaign is it almost immediately goes into Genghis Khan's attack on China and how he was trying to take on like the feudal China like Jin dynasty, and that immediately started triggering all of my childhood Dynasty Warriors gameplay, and I'm like, I know this stuff because I used to play Dynasty Warriors like a giant fucking nerd, and I was like, I'm obsessed with this now. I want to get deep into this and this history because I don't know it nearly as well as like some of the British history or like American history. And now I'm like, I need an expansion of the China dynasties because I know a lot of it from Dynasty Warriors. I want a Dynasty Warriors RTS now. That's what I want. Never scratch it. Dynasty Warriors RTS. That's what I need.
That's what you need. I do have a question for everybody then as well, because I felt this playing the game, and I don't know if you felt this playing the game. But there's moments in it where they're just like, I don't know who does, like William the Conqueror, like ransacked the town and burnt it to the ground. And you go in and you kill all the villages and you ransack the buildings. And I'm like, fuck, like that's horrible. Like, holy fuck, that's just awful. But you're playing the game and you're RTS and you're like, yay, victory. And I'm like, I'm supposed to feel good about this. I do not. Like, I don't feel good about this at all. It's such a moral conflict for me, because I'm like, oh, fun RTS history nerd, woohoo. And then I'm like, fuck it.
It's just like with this as well, because I'm, a bit of a history nerd, and I've always loved history, but as I've got older, I've become to appreciate take it more seriously, because I have a job and I'm an adult and I know what hard work is now. And so when they're like, I was watching one of the videos today and they're like, oh, and they walked from London to York. And I'm like, fucking York? That must have took like a month. So to me, it is getting that realism now of actually going back and actually appreciating actual history and stuff. But yeah, I felt the same way. Like, you just go in there and you just slaughter an entire town and you're like, yay for me, put a farm there.
Yeah, just put a farm there, take over everybody's town and use their own stables and stuff. And I'm like,
burn people's children, and awful. Now there's a farm.
And I think it was like Henry or somebody, William the Conqueror's kids and stuff, they were fighting over the land and shit. And they were like, oh, we needed to like gain obedience throughout the towns of wherever. So they just ransacked the towns and killed everybody. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that's dark. And it's like this fun little RTS game that's not at all dark. And you're like, I feel like there's a point missing. Like there's
Pagan,
something missing there.
It was called the Dark Ages for a reason.
I know. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I feel like there's no I don't even know what to call that. Is it like self-consequence or like just self-awareness of the fact that they're like, and then you ransack the village and you're killing people,
murdering babies.
There's none of that. But then I suppose that might be a massive fucking downer on the games as well. So that's fair.
They do a good job of keeping that very positive.
Yeah, sure. So it's the victory, doo-doo. Like, oh, great. Shit.
One thing I do find, like, it's a downside, not just Age of Empires, but RTSs in general, is it's probably the point of the game, but it's overly focused on the military aspect of these games. Like, I like building the farms and I like building the villages and I like doing that, but I feel like it's more pushed towards military. It's all like with military context, and you just, once you leave that hub village with your little like gang of horses and shit, you don't go back, you know, you're just like crawling through the things and stuff. And so I kind of miss that building element, like, which is why maybe I do prefer like SimCity and that kind of game more.
I was going to say maybe SimCity is more your game.
Yeah, I like building stuff and I like building
empires.
Taxes.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm British. I mean,
like Tropico.
So, I like building little cathedrals and things like that. But I just find it gets into this. It's like, I don't know, Civ's not an RTS, but it's like once you get the nuclear weapon, that's it. It's over. Just everything gets nuked.
Yeah, true.
So you know, it just stops becoming about civilization. Then it's just like, oh, I'm going to shoot an arrow man with a tank. You know, it's just
but I feel like you made your point there, and you kind of said it in the beginning that this is kind of the point of the game. I would agree that like Age of Empires is really the point of the game, is that military aspect, to go and conquer different places and to set up different hubs. Maybe if you were looking for more of a focus on building and running communities and stuff like that, I think Civilization or SimCity and stuff like that would definitely be more of your tone. But this game, I understand it. I get what you're saying though. It is annoying, and I do often find that I'm like, I go in, I rush into battle, and all my people die, and I'm like, fuck. Now I have to build up a whole new army.
Or I like to, like, I remember playing Age of Empires, and I'd make, like, my little town, and I've got, like, my shit and stuff. I put my little wall up, and I'm like, oh, look at me with my little castle. And then the fuckers come over the hill and start burning it down, and I'm like, no!
Worked so hard to make that.
Yeah.
It worked so hard. It was so pretty. Fuck you. Leave my potatoes alone.
Did you have something to add, Pat? It looked like you were going to say something.
Bits and pieces here. There's a disconnect I have with these games at a certain difficulty that I just don't have what it takes. You know, don't ask me to play this game online or anything in the genre.
Disconnect was the word I was looking for earlier. Thank you.
Yeah. I just it takes a different type of thinker than I am to excel at these games. You know, I'd like to think I can multitask, but when you need me to be creating units at home base while also worrying about what the units that are out in the field are doing, I have to set this game on easy, and I have to just have fun with it. You know, otherwise it's going to be a bad time. You know, they're really, you know, you got to put a lot of effort into these games, and to spend the time to build up your army in your town and to think you're like ready for battle and then just get wrecked. I mean, some people enjoy that, but I just, like, with my attention span, to have to invest that much time and to not feel the payoff of that is like, I know me, so I know what difficulty I had to play on it, and that's okay, and I can live with that. But
I will fully admit I've been playing on easy because Age of Empires is not an easy game.
Same. I've also been playing on easy, which I'm actually really shocked that myself and Dan are playing on the same level. Like, oh my god, Dan! Did I just get good, or did you get bad?
Take in as much of that game as possible. And I'm like, I need to put it on easy if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I want to be able
those
to
games
see
are
like,
hard.
the storyline. I want to see all the videos and stuff, and I don't want to be like, I can't, get past this.
Well, like, in preparation, I went back and I started playing Age of Empires 1 that I haven't played in a couple of months, and I got fucking overrun by the enemy within like 25 minutes, and I was just like, Like, all right, I need to play these games on easy at least to get the better understanding of how to play the game and to how to properly build up your units. And because if I hadn't played the game in a while and I go into it cold, I'm just like, okay, build, buy, buy. And I'm not putting any strategy or planning into anything I'm doing. So I'm just wasting resources on things I probably don't need.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like there definitely is you have to put a certain amount of yourself into these kind of games to really be successful at them if you're going to play it on anything over easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been pretty much playing it on easy because I'm suck at those games anyway, and I like the feeling of success that I am William the Conqueror and I did take over England and stuff. And I didn't get my ass kicked on the way.
I definitely don't want to spend an hour and a half on a level just to die at the end and be like,
yeah. No, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a nice throwback to the originals. You know, as a replayer, it's been nice to go back and replay the games again. So yeah.
Do you have to do this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It makes me feel better, Dan. Let me have my moment.
I know we already kind of started to branch off, but I actually do have a question for the panel too. Of if there are any other favorite RTS games that you like. And they don't necessarily have to be of this nature, just like real-time strategy games. Because I believe both Maria and Pat also are RTS fans outside of that genre specifically. Pagan, I know you play a little bit of Sims and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, I've played a little bit of SimCity. I wasn't super drawn to it, but I liked the tycoon games. I don't know if you can even call them real-time strategy games, but
they're
like
simulation, but they fall kind of in that category.
Yeah, that shit was fun. Like Roller Coaster Tycoon and stuff like that. I used to be obsessed with Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was a kid. Fuck, that game's awesome. I don't know if I would have the same opinion of that game now. Probably bored off my tits, but I like that, and obviously Age of Empires and Age of Mythology. I really enjoy those games.
We had a fun conversation about it, trying to distinguish what made an RTS an RTS, because I brought to the table that Cities Skylines, which is just like Sim City, but I think it's a little better personally. And in games like Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster, I think have a degree of this real-time strategy element, but then trying to, it's obviously like when you say an RTS, a real-time strategy game, I think of StarCraft, I think of Warcraft. Like I get that that's what that is. But part of it, I feel like, is the ability to pause the game. I feel like when I've collected money in I was playing Planet Zoo the other day. I love that game. I love the zoo in general. I'm building up my zoo. I can pause the game. I can start to build things with a budget that I've accrued, and then
hit play,
and then and then you react from there, whether or not you did a good job. But the fact that like you build up an army in this real-time strategy game, you have to be thinking on your feet a lot more.
Not so much real time.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think you said like a time management sim is a good way to refer to those other games, and I think that's accurate too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I never thought of it like that. Yes. Yeah, that's actually an interesting.
That is concept. A good. That's a good category, honestly, because like Zoo Tycoon and Roller Coaster Tycoon, you do the same thing. You build your whole park and then you let everybody in. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to let you finish. Sorry. Anyways, I was going to mention the Jurassic World Evolution that I believe is made by the same people that made Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo. I think Frontier. I believe they might be the same studio. I'll have to double check that unless Pagan can Google quick. But I have that. I have the Jurassic World Evolution, and it's the same thing. It's that time management sim. You build a park, you add new buildings to it, you add new dinosaurs, you have to draw as many people into it. It's a theme park, and you're trying to earn as much money as possible and continue to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, Frontier Developments.
Yeah, so they made both of those. And that's the kind of thing. I think the Jurassic World Evolution 2 is coming out next week, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to have a lot on my plate coming up with all these new awesome games coming out this month. So like time management sims. But I feel like they technically fall under the category of a real-time strategy. It might not be real-time per se, but it's that same style of like you're trying to manage things from that God view. And I enjoy a lot of those games too. I played quite a few or a bit of SimCity, and then I think Jurassic World was the other big one I played. I haven't checked out Planet Coaster yet or Planet Zoo, but I'm curious.
Speaking of God view, did you play Black and White?
Absolutely, sir. I was about to do that segue too. I almost rolled into it. I was about to.
I don't know what this is. I'm going to Google it.
So I had Black and White 1 and 2 back in the day. They were very much a God game RTS. And that's actually how they're described as a God game. Because in that, the game breaks the fourth wall and acknowledging that you as a player are manipulating the characters in the game. So it's actually quite fun, and it's a shame that you can't get this game anymore unless you find and buy the physical copies. I see you laughing, Pagan.
Sorry. Yeah, I just saw the graphics on the game. That is so funny.
Oh, it's ancient now. It came out in the early 2000s.
Oh, I know, but like, I mean, it's black and white. It's like monsters and stuff.
Yeah, so
It's
go
just
ahead,
funny.
go ahead, Pat. You go.
Oh, what stands out to me about that one is that you have this baby creature from the beginning that is like
It's like you're
in this physical world. It is doing your bidding. It's like
Yeah.
it's your
It's like
taskmaster.
your hand of
I see.
God,
I
essentially.
see.
Like he's your the Metatron. I don't know if I'm going too deep with that.
Oh my
Like
God.
he enacts your will essentially. He works your will through the animal, and you can choose which kind of creature you start. I always use the wolf. I was always the wolf. I was never anything but the wolf.
And you're given these choices of having a quote unquote like good decision and a bad decision for doing things, and maybe that's you help your villagers do tasks like foraging for materials, or maybe you want to just feed your villagers to this creature, and depending on the routes that you take, it'll affect how this creature is. You'll have either like a wolf that looks nice and cuddly, or you'll have like a scary werewolf looking guy. So you had a bit more freedom to choose how you wanted to be as this being.
That kind of seems fun. Like, I mean,
Oh my God, I love that
sounds
game.
good.
it does.
It's so unfortunate that it's hard to get now because it's completely discontinued like across the board. On that note, I got to ask now, Pat, since you know Black and White, I'm assuming you played it a bit. Do you know who made Black and White?
No, not a clue.
Lionhead Studios. You know what else Lionhead Studios made? Fable.
There we go.
Yay,
There
segue.
we go. Full circle.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we did come for a circle. Wow.
Fable
That is
and
interesting.
Black and White have a lot in common. They had that same system of good and evil, and doing like the choices, and it makes a big difference in how your character evolves as you make choices. Fable was all about that. You would either be all godly and you'd have a halo over your head, or as you did evil things, you started getting all like gnarled and you'd get like crazy marks and your eyes would start glowing and you get horns.
Cool.
Yeah, Fable's so good. Anyways, Black and White was definitely one.
Nice.
I have a list of like some of my favorite RTS games, including Black and White. And I think one of my all-time military, if we'll go with that denomination, that military RTS for me was Command and Conquer Red Alert 3.
Yes.
Okay.
That game is bananas.
The
and
intro
fucking
music.
Absurd. Oh my God. I had every intention of having a screen share of the gameplay so you guys can see it, but it wouldn't do it justice. You need to hear and see that game in full force. It's got an amazing cast. It's got Tim Curry in it, J.K. Simmons, George Takei.
Oh my God. I didn't
all
know that.
live action, all B-rated movie script with
That's
terrible
fucking
graphics.
amazing.
It's amazing. It's an absurd game, and
Which
it's
one
really
did you
fun
say?
to play.
The third one?
Red Alert 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to put the cheat code in on that and just annihilate everything with nuclear weapons.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
You could
So much fun.
you could, if you played as the Russians, you had like attack bears. If
The
you
little
were
the little Tesla coils,
Yeah.
and just electrocute everybody. It's great.
Yep.
What?
if you were the
Oh my
the
God.
Japanese, you had like attack dolphins that swam around and like killed people. Like it took it to an absurd thing. The whole story revolved around this group of Russian soldiers going back in time and killing Albert Einstein and changing history. It's fucking bananas.
Yeah. That's good.
Wow.
So good. So
I'm just
I don't
looking
know
at
if
like
anyone
some
else.
footage of this gameplay, and I'm like,
So good.
what the fuck is this?
It's so good.
I feel like there haven't been enough alternative history RTS games. It's all usually kind of
good
built in.
point.
You know, if you were
The realism, like simulation.
I
Kind
know
of
there was
thing.
like Age of
Yeah.
Mythology and stuff like that, and there was
That was real life.
I mean, it's not RTS, but there was also Populous. It wasn't RTS-y, but it was like Populous was like you were a god, and you got your people to like, you'd you know, order them about and make them pray for you, and you're like, yeah, you better pray to me. Like, wah, 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 wah. So yeah, I like being god. It's fun.
Well, then you definitely need to get a hold of Black and White if you want to play God.
I should. Yeah, I never played
Such
it.
a good game.
So
You'd have to track down a physical copy of it somewhere on the internet and see if you can get it working on your computer.
does your computer still have a disk drive too?
no.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
We have a portable
Right.
disk drive. Does it help? Huh?
I mean, it works.
It works.
I know there was another one I was thinking of that I wanted to mention. I kind of escaping me right now. Did anyone else have any other RTS memories or fond memories or
The
anecdotes?
Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle Earth.
Oh my god, yeah, great
Two.
fucking shout. Great shout. Yes.
I've heard
That's
that
all.
game.
That
is
game was
phenomenal.
fucking unreal. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, not too much specific. You know, it's a very similar kind of game, and but just the being in that world and understand, you know, knowing the references of the hero characters you got to control as, and going through the storyline there too. Fantastic. But just like these other games, I have to turn it down to easy. Don't go online, and then we'll have a good time.
Yeah, I would agree. We still have that. We still have Battle for Middle Earth too.
We actually have the first one and the second one for PC, but we couldn't
Yes.
get them to work, and all the support is down for that as well. I actually went and found a copy of the second one for Xbox a few months ago, and I haven't played it yet.
Dope.
That was okay. Sorry, that's exactly what I should have said too. Is the fact that game translated so well onto a controller, where
Yeah.
traditionally you play those games on the PC, and it came at a time where I was not PC gaming, and I just had so much fun with that on my couch.
Yeah, great shout. I used to
Which
love
there's
that game.
another RTS game that I'm a big fan of that translates well onto a controller because it was developed for a controller, was Halo Wars.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Halo Wars
I've
is
seen that
actually
played.
really
It
good.
looks good. Yeah. I haven't played it myself.
And I actually just recently started playing Halo Wars 2, and I learned that the enemies in Halo Wars 2 are the enemies in Halo Infinite. And now I'm like, I have to play Halo Wars 2 so I can know what's happening in Infinite.
Little sneak preview.
A little bit. Like, I remember watching the new trailer for Halo Infinite that dropped a few weeks ago, and they talked about the Banished, and I'm like, who the hell are the Banished? And then I started playing Halo Wars, and I was like, oh, all right.
That's cool.
Apparently, I have to
That's
play
cool.
Halo Wars.
That's where they
So,
got banished to
Yes,
into Halo Wars.
in the Halo Wars. The Wars of Halo.
All good. I think Age of Empires 4 is a great game, and I think you should play it if you're in any way a history buff or an RTS fan. If you've never played an Age of Empires game, I think it's relatively easy to pick this one up because of the hints and the helpful stuff in the tutorial. It's really great.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I haven't played Age of Empires since it was around in 2005, so this was an easy pickup. I'm like, am I going to remember how to play this game? But it was a nice little refresher where it was like the tutorial basically holds your hand through the whole thing, so it's easy to pick up and it's fun. I mean, yeah, learn some history. Yeah.
And just to throw it out there that it's on Game Pass. So
Yes.
if you have Game Pass, you can play it right now, or you can look at signing up for Game Pass. If
Yes.
you're interested in playing and not paying $60 for the game, give it a shot. I think you can get Game Pass for like a month or 3 months for $1. Give it a go. If you don't want any more, don't keep getting Game Pass or whatever.
You'd get access to Halo
You
in a
would
month.
get access to Halo.
You'd get
See
access
that?
to Forza in 4 days.
Bum, bum, bum.
I'm in Big Game Pass's pocket right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
same.
We are
think
not
we all are.
sponsored by them at all, but holy hell, I love
No.
Game Pass.
I'm like a PlayStation gamer, and I swear to God, Game Pass is fucking excellent.
Yes.
Like,
It is.
Sony, come on now.
Yeah,
Epic Game,
and now
bitch.
with Forza knocking it out of the park, and then Halo coming around the corner, and hopefully Halo knocks it out of the park. Like I'm like, come on, baby, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh
What
man,
about the Game
I
Pass?
actually I succumbed to I'm gonna be able to play Forza with the Game Pass, but I actually bought the Game Pass Premium add-on pack, which gives you access to all the DLC for the game for the next 2 years, and it lets me play it early, so I can play it
Wow. Fuck.
Nice.
How much is that?
now. $50.
Okay.
So
Not
it's still
bad.
less than the game itself, but
Yeah.
it's Xbox's new like marketing. I think that they're like, we're fully aware that you're not going to buy the game because you have it on Game Pass, but here's how you can get all of the extra shit that's going to come out for it without buying the game, because that's the only other way to get that stuff is buying like the premium version of the game or buying the individual like packs. So they made a bundle deal specific to Game Pass owners.
I feel like that's a very smart opportunity for them. I didn't.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
was not aware that they were doing that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something they start doing regularly now, and I'm sure Forza is going to be the one to really nail that strategy, and that might be what they do from now on to really secure Game Pass subscribers.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Again, not sponsored by Microsoft, but happy to be.
Hey, it's great. Game Pass is great. You gotta say it. It is though. It's a good.
I
deal.
see people constantly talking about how they think that like everyone who shouts Game Pass is just a paid off,
No, I wish.
tool, but it's
Yeah, I wish.
Oh, Phil
would love-
Spencer.
hey,
Oh,
where's my bag of money? Thanks.
I'm sorry. I've got to take this.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
Phil.
Yep. Oh, thanks, Phil. All right.
Hey,
see you
bud,
on Monday.
hey.
It's like that scene from Toy Story where Woody's buzzes his arm and he's like, hi, Phil. Yeah, you're my pal.
Someone
okay.
sponsor me.
Thank you guys for joining us this week on the all-new Replayer podcast. To take us out and close the show, just want to let everyone know that you can feel free to pop us a message over at our email at thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com, or you can always reach out to us on Twitter if you want to join us for an episode of the show, talk about some new games coming up, or just, I don't know, share your opinions on some of the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
Feel free. Are there any games that you want to talk about on the show or discuss? Let us know. And with that, I'm Dan. Thank you, Pagan. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Patrick. This is the Replayer Podcast, and that's game over.
Bye.
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 I don't need to play that.
Okay, there we go.